Welcome back to Learn English Podcast 360. Hello, my friends. I am very happy to have you here again. No matter where you are in the world, I hope you are doing well today. Maybe you are at home, maybe you're at work, or maybe you're just resting for a few minutes. This is your time to relax, listen, and learn English in a simple and natural way. In today's episode, we are going to talk about something very important: how to be successful at work. But this is not just about work. It is also about confidence, mistakes, learning, and growing as a person. Many people go to work every single day. They wake up early, they try their best, they do their tasks, they follow instructions, but still deep inside they feel something is missing. They feel tired, they feel stressed, and sometimes they ask themselves a quiet question: am I doing well enough? Have you ever worked hard, but still feel like it is not enough? If your answer is yes, then you are not alone. Many people feel the same way. And today I want to tell you a simple story. A story about a normal man. A man who is not perfect, but who slowly learns how to improve his work life step by step. So now, let's begin his story. His name is David. David is a young office worker in a normal company. He is not lazy. In fact, he tries very hard every day. He wants to do a good job. He wants to be appreciated by everyone at work. But inside, he often feels confused. At work, David feels many things. He feels confused when he gets new tasks. He feels afraid when he might make mistakes. He feels nervous when he talks to his coworkers, and he feels a lot of stress when deadlines are near. Also, his English is not very strong, so sometimes it is hard for him to understand emails or explain his ideas clearly. This makes everything feel even more difficult. Every morning, David arrives at work early, but even when he sits at his desk, his mind is full of thoughts. What should I do first? Did I understand this correctly? What if I make a mistake again? He reads emails carefully, but sometimes he does not fully understand the meaning. He tries to guess. He tries to do his best, but he is never fully sure. In meetings, David usually stays quiet. He listens, but he does not speak much. He wants to share his ideas, but he is afraid of making mistakes, afraid of saying something wrong. So he just stays silent, and slowly he starts to feel something inside him, a small feeling of insecurity. He looks at his coworkers and thinks, they are better than me. They are more confident. They know what to do. At the end of many days, David goes home with the same feeling: not happy, not proud, just tired and unsure. And one night, after a long day at work, David sits alone in his room. He looks at his desk, full of notes, papers, and unfinished work. He feels quiet, no noise, just his thoughts. He starts thinking, why do other people seem more confident than me? Maybe I am not good enough for this job. That thought stays in his mind for a long time. But this is where something important begins. After thinking for a while, David opens his work notebook again. He looks at his tasks, his mistakes, and his daily habits. Slowly, he begins to understand something. Maybe the problem is not intelligence. Maybe the problem is not job. Maybe the problem is something else. Maybe it is his habits and mindset. This small idea starts to change something inside him. He takes a deep breath and says quietly to himself, I will not give up. I will try to change. This is the turning point in David's life. From this moment, he decides to stop feeling helpless. He decides to start learning, to start improving. step by step, even if it is slow. And now, we're going to see how David begins to change his work life, starting with something very simple but very powerful. The first lesson he learns is about communication. At work, David realizes something very important. It is not about using perfect English. It is not about using big words. It is about being clear, so he starts to change. He begins to use short sentences. He tries to speak more simply. When he does not understand something, he starts to ask questions instead of staying silent, and he repeats information to make sure everything is correct. At first, it is not easy. He still feels nervous. His heart still beats fast when he speaks in meetings, but he keeps trying, and slowly, something begins to change. People start to understand him more easily. He feels less confused, and most importantly, he starts to feel a little more confident than before. He realizes a very important truth. Clear communication is more important than perfect English. And this is just the beginning of his journey. After learning how to communicate more clearly, David begins to notice something important at work. Problems still happen, mistakes still appear. But now, instead of staying silent or feeling lost, he starts to react differently. This leads him to the second lesson of his journey. Lesson 2. Taking responsibility. One day at work, David makes a small mistake in a report. In the past, he would feel nervous and hope someone else would fix it. He might even stay quiet, afraid to speak up. But this time, something changes inside him. He takes a deep breath and says to himself, "I will fix it." He goes to his manager and explains the mistake, not with fear, not with excuses, but with honesty. He says, "I made a mistake, but I will fix it quickly." His manager looks at him calmly and says, "Okay, please fix it and send the updated version." David goes back to his desk. He does not panic. He does not blame others. He simply focuses on solving the problem. For the first time, he feels something different: control. He realizes that at work, mistakes are not the end. What matters is how you respond to them. From that day, David starts to change his mindset. He accepts mistakes. He fixes problems quickly. And most importantly, he stops blaming others. Slowly, his manager begins to notice this change. David is no longer the person who avoids responsibility. He is becoming someone who takes action. Lesson 3. Teamwork and listening. As time goes on, David learns another important lesson. He is not working alone. He is part of a team. Before he often focused only on his own tasks. He was quiet in meetings, and sometimes did not fully listen because he was worried about his own work. But now, he starts to change. In meetings, David begins to listen carefully. He does not just wait for his turn to speak, he truly listens to what others are saying. When something is not clear, he asks simple questions like, "Sorry, can you say that again?" or "Do you mean this?" At first, he still feels a little shy, but he notices something important. People respond positively when he tries. He also starts to support his teammates. If someone is confused, he tries to help. If someone needs information, he shares what he knows. Little by little, David understands a powerful truth. Success is not solo. Success is teamwork. He is no longer just thinking about me and my work. He starts thinking about us and our work. And because of this change, his relationships at work begin to improve. Lesson 4. Time and focus. Even with better communication and teamwork, David still feels busy sometimes. Too many tasks, too many messages, too many things at the same time. So he learns his next lesson: focus. Before, David often tried to do many things at once. He would check emails, work on reports, and think about meetings all at the same time. But this only made him more tired and confused. Now he decides to change. He starts to focus on one task at a time, just one. When he writes a report, he only writes the report. When he checks emails, he only reads emails. When he has a meeting, he focuses only on the meeting. He also begins to make a simple daily plan, nothing complicated. Just a short list of what he needs to do today. Slowly, his work becomes more organized. He feels less stressed. And for the first time in a long time, he feels in control of his day. Then, one important day arrives. There is a team meeting. In the past, David would stay quiet. He would listen, but not speak much. But this time is different. He prepares his idea. He takes a breath. And when it is his turn, he speaks. Slowly, clearly, and with confidence. He does not try to use big words. He does not try to be perfect. He just speaks simply and clearly. And something amazing happens. People understand him. No one asks him to repeat. No one looks confused. His manager listens carefully and then smiles. It is a small moment. But for David, it feels very big. After the meeting, he walks back to his desk quietly. But inside he feels proud. Not proud because he is perfect, but proud because he improved. He realizes something very powerful. Small steps create big change. Now we step away from David's story and come back to you. Because this story is not only about him, it is about every person who is learning, working, and trying to become better every day. Everyone starts from confusion. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone feels unsure at some point. But success does not come from being perfect. Success comes from small daily habits. Practicing communication, taking responsibility, working with others, staying focused, and learning from mistakes. If you keep improving just a little every day, your work life, your confidence, and your English will all grow step by step. So remember this simple truth. Your English, your job, your success, everything improves slowly, but it does improve. Keep going. Keep learning. And trust your journey. You are doing better than you think.